Welcome to Books in Sum, your go-to for bite-sized book summaries.
Broke Millennial by Erin Lowry. Erin Lowry is a personal finance advisor who shows that even the most financially inexperienced millennial can find a path to prosperity. She shows how to take a Freudian approach to money, how to create a budget that works for you, and how much you should set aside for emergencies. Erin and her friend Lizzie were recovering from a night on the town when Erin asked Lizzie over coffee why Lizzie didn't just quit her boring corporate job. Lizzie responded that she avoids her bank account because it causes her too much anxiety. The main point of this blink is that many people in their 20s and 30s are held back by their negative attitudes toward financial matters. Erin came to the conclusion that Lizzie's story is not unusual for today's young adults. Having a firm grasp on your financial situation can mean the difference between living a life of satisfaction and one of constant stress. If you don't watch your spending, you may have to choose between paying the rent and having a family. It takes a number of incremental improvements to get out of this anxious rut. Discovering these covert barriers is the first step toward transforming your financial outlook. If you want to break the habits that are holding you back, you have to think back to when you were a child. When you saw how your parents or primary caregivers handled money, things started to make sense. Your current issues with money can be traced back to these formative experiences, whether you grew up without enough to eat or feel ashamed of your family's wealth. The cash diet and detailed expense tracking are the two cornerstones of the budgeting information presented here. Since studies have shown that people tend to spend less when paying with notes and coins instead of swiping a card, the cash diet entails switching as many financial transactions as possible from plastic to cash. It's also much more cost-effective because it doesn't involve credit card fees, interest, or the dreaded monthly bill. To ease the burden of switching to cash only, it is recommended to split your monthly budget into weekly installments. The text focuses primarily on two budgeting techniques, the track every penny system and realistic budgeting percentages, because they are the most effective and easiest to implement. Using a spreadsheet with columns for the date, the item purchased, and the total cost down to the very last cent, one can keep meticulous track of all financial dealings using the track every penny system. Setting reasonable budget percentages is an important step toward achieving your long-term financial goals and managing your monthly expenses. Half of your take-home pay should go toward the first item, a fifth to the second, and a third to the third, in a perfect world. For the time being, you can tailor them to your specific needs and then reevaluate them as circumstances shift. Your percentages should be reasonable regardless of the situation. The most critical information presented here is that long-term financial goals should receive only 5% of your total budget, while fixed costs should take up 40%. Dwight makes $45,000 a year and resides in New York City. He requires $1,350 monthly to pay for housing, transportation, and basic living expenses. Dwight needs to set aside $500 per month, or 20% of his income, to reach his financial objectives. Dwight has come up with a plan to save $200 per month, leaving $850 for necessities such as food. Dwight can keep his fixed and discretionary spending at their current level and put the rest of his raise toward his long-term goals. The primary idea presented here is that moving your savings to an online bank will improve your return on investment. You probably didn't pick your bank based on the annual percentage yield. The article focuses on the significance of a high annual percentage yield savings account and the steps necessary to locate one. Because they don't have to spend money on physical locations, online-only banks can typically offer higher APYs than their traditional banking counterparts. Just type highest interest savings account into Google to find the best bank for you. As long as you pay off your balance in full every month, credit cards can be a useful financial tool. The most important thing is to only charge what you can afford to pay off each month, and to always pay the full balance. Credit cards function in a similar way to short-term loans in that the issuing bank issues a plastic card that can be used to charge purchases up to a specified limit every month. The credit card company will send you a bill at the end of the month that includes two figures, the total amount you owe and the minimum due amount. This is a well-thought-out trap that causes millions of credit card holders to spend more than they have and rack up debts that are increasingly difficult to repay each month. Because of the unpredictability of life, it's wise to prepare for the worst-case scenario by putting money aside. You can either use your savings or your credit card when bad luck strikes and everything starts breaking down. Although painful, the alternative is much more so. It's important to take baby steps and put that money into savings to avoid falling into the debt trap. Whether you're carrying credit card debt, personal loans, or a combination of the two, an unexpected bill is almost inevitable. It is commonly accepted that one's emergency fund should be large enough to cover at least 6 months' worth of expenses. Underemployed and heavily indebted millennials should shoot for a minimum emergency savings fund of $1,000. Add at least $500 if other people or animals rely on you. You should be able to save enough money to cover your basic living expenses for 6 months if you do not have any debt or if your debt is manageable. You should have 9 months' worth of savings if you are a freelancer. Instead of tying up your savings in investments or stocks, keep your emergency fund in liquid form in a bank account offering an annual percentage yield of at least 1%. This will serve as a safety net and allow you to rest easy. The most crucial information in this text is the actionable advice that can change a millennial's financial life for the better. Learning how to use a percentage-based budget, responsible credit card use, electronic banking, and a savings cushion are all essential. It's also crucial to stand up for yourself when dealing with sticky financial situations. If a friend keeps ordering drinks and appetizers without asking, you should speak up even if it means being labeled a cheapskate. Or you could try to defuse the situation by offering to pay your share of the bill. Finally, keep in mind that most people would prefer to have someone else, like an accountant, handle the tedious task of divvying up the bill for a large group.
We hope you found this summary helpful in your listening journey. If you're interested in diving deeper into the topic or getting your hands on the whole book, be sure to check the description below where we've included links to the book and other related products that may be useful to you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on our latest book summaries. And feel free to leave a comment with any suggestions or requests for books you'd like us to cover. Thanks again for tuning in and happy listening.